going. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Welcome to Wisco Goes West.
16. 16?
1-6. That's right. The 1-6. So,
we can drive now.
That's right. I'm in driving mode.
Legally.
I like to drive legally. I drove illegally before that point, though. Anyways, thank you for listening. Check into our social medias at Juggernaut Productions LLC on Instagram and also on Facebook. And then you can also find us at Juggernaut_prod, P-R-O-D, on Twitter.
Great intro.
I liked it. I thought it was a good one today.
Solid. Music. We'll go straight into music this week. Reviewed Rihanna's new album.
Nice.
Anthony. It was released back in January, which I found surprising because when I listened to this album, it was actually really, really good. I thought it was going to be the average Rihanna album, very poppy, not that diverse of a mixture.
Yeah.
But actually it was pretty good. It actually had like a blues track. It had like a little bit of a reggae feel in some of them, and then you had your pop track.
Right.
But it had a really good mixture for being. I never listened to her. I'm not a huge fan. I love her voice, but never listened to much of her music.
Much into it, yeah.
But this one, I feel everyone should listen because it shows off her vocal range really nicely. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5.
Whoa!
Tracks to listen to. Work featuring Drake. That's the pop single off of it. But Love on the Brain, Kiss It Better, and Desperado. It has like those 4 tracks. Or one of them's like a little bit like a drill music scene, like in Chicago. But then you had a blues track, and then like I said, a reggae track. So it was pretty well diverse. Pleasant surprise.
Well
done. Say, so.
Yeah, I think you can. A 4 out of 5 for Rihanna. I like it.
Yeah.
So I went with Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros.
How'd that go?
Not as great as I was hoping. I remember hearing the name, and I was like, hey, I'm going to give these guys a chance. Mm-hmm. The album is Person A, or Persona. I like it.
Nice.
It's kind of all one word.
Yep.
I like play on words. But I mean, it's still a really good album in its own right.
Right.
It was more contemporary piano kind of stuff, but very, very out there instrumentation still too. Had some horns, had some fun stuff. I really like the second song, Uncomfortable. The feel of the song kind of is dissonant and uncomfortable too, so I kind of like that aspect of it that they played into that. So I guess pretty good that way, but overall musically I was on my way up. Again, good Sunday morning drive, but it didn't pull me in, so I'm giving it a 2.5.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's not again, give it a listen, but it's not something that you have to go straight to your Spotify and go crazy on.
Yeah. That's what I will say I liked about the Rihanna album is that we are a huge fan of like tempos, like catch me with different tempos on different songs and stuff. This one was really good on doing that. It had a lot of slow, a lot of fast, and like the album design was really well done. So, but yes, we'll flip to sports.
I like sports
this week. Some big news coming out of the NFL.
Boom.
The Los Angeles Rams acquired the #1 overall pick in this year's draft from the Tennessee Titans. Yep. It's reported that Rams are looking at either the Cal quarterback Jared Goff, I'm going to assume,
yes, I'm ready to
and North Dakota State quarterback Carson Wentz. So, very interesting move. The Titans get a lot. The Rams gave a lot. But again, if you're trying to go all in on a quarterback, and there's reports saying, I haven't looked into it, I gotta get on the combine stuff, but saying that this Carson Wentz character could be pretty well high drafted potential. So, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. I'm gonna run through it though. So they got the first overall pick, the 4th round pick this year, and the 6th round pick from the Titans. And the Titans got the 15th overall pick, 2 second rounders this year, 43 and 45, a 3rd rounder from them, the 76th pick, and then also got their 2017 1st and 3rd round picks.
And see, this is why to me it's going to be a perfect move for everyone though, right? Because in LA now, you're the LA Rams, right? You have to sell tickets somehow, and the way you can do that is by doing a drastic move like this, and you're getting, hey, it comes to the #1 overall pick.
True.
And then on the Tennessee side, you already have your quarterback. You did a great job this year. Get a line around him, I think it's a good move on both parts.
Titans looked very smart with that move. I will say, the Titans unfortunately didn't look too smart earlier this weekend. Hosted a family movie night in the stadium and forgot to turn off the sprinklers. I literally just saw that on my social media, so I can't verify that that's true. but it'd be free. It said CBS Sports, so I want to go with yes.
Yes, that is true. But quickly, the debate of the week in sports. The NBA season, regular season is gone. Playoffs have started now. My favorite time of the year, personally. But which will you remember the most out of this season? That either A, Russell Westbrook tied Magic Johnson's most career triple-doubles in the season at 18. The Warriors being the 95-96 Bulls record with 73 wins. Or Kobe, the Mamba, Bryant retiring, but scoring 60 on the Jazz going out.
Man, 60 on the Jazz going out is epic. That's
ridiculous.
It's John Elway. I won 2 Super Bowls. Epic.
That's Peyton Manning winning Super Bowl last year and retiring. That's.
I mean, not quite that epic because he'd win championship would be epic. But for your personal
self. But for your team though, when you compare that team, Peyton Manning won that because the defense on his team was great. Kobe Bryant is on this crappy ass Lakers team, and everyone's like, oh, well, he's gonna score 20 and retire. It'll be nice and get away. And then all of a sudden, it's a tight game. You hit the clutch shot again to go ahead. I think it was pretty remarkable.
Kobe-esque.
Good job, Kobe. We'll miss you.
I don't know though. I think when the history books hit it, you'd hope that it'd be the Warriors breaking that record. Yeah. I'm gonna go into a quick 5 seconds of MLB.
Do it.
Brewers 5-6 right now, playing the Pittsburgh Pirates. They move on to Minnesota on Monday night. Watch it.
In full swing now, right?
That's right. Full swing in the season. Here we go.
Speaking of season, we're gonna go movie seasons now.
Oh, movies.
So it is made aware through rumors and friends of ours telling us and different blogs and stuff that this Batman vs Superman movie was less than par, we'll say, and didn't get
sales showed it too.
Yes, everything pointed that it was not that very good of a movie.
Right.
And so this new movie coming out with the Suicide Squad that I personally am very excited about, and will go see. Coming right after this, crap movie and going with the same storyline, the same DC, can we expect a good movie or can we expect that they're just gonna fuck the Joker up?
A lot of people are scared with that. I feel with Jared Leto, and I personally think he can pull it off. From what I just saw on the theatrical tidbit. Whatever we call those. I don't know why I can't think of it.
Teasers.
Trailers. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word just now. Anyways,
that's why we're a team.
That's why there's 2 of us on the podcast, people. Anyways, from what I saw, it looks like a pretty darn good movie. It'll be a little cheesy, I feel, but that's kind of the comic book way to go. And there's a lot of good actors in it that I kind of forgot were hanging out in it too, Right. And I think it can be all right. Everybody thought Batman vs Superman, including myself, was going to be great too, but a lot of critics hated on it. But sometimes it's just that too. Critics hate on it. That's how you get cult classics. They come out on DVD and people love the hell out of them.
True. Very true. We will see, DC. You have been on a losing streak, though, lately. I will say that comparatively to Marvel. And I feel that you should understand that you have to set the bar pretty high these days when it comes to these type of movies.
Set the bar.
Up here.
Not down here.
Somewhere up here.
Okay.
So we're combining because these next 2 subjects with this topic kind of go into both as of late in the news and social media and all that good stuff. So today we're mixing politics and global/USA with the topic of marijuana, cannabis, weed. So what's going on in this country is it's very interesting with this drug, and I think in a way unprecedented in the way that's being handled.
Yeah.
We have sales going on that show that it's worth it. We have medical purposes, again, showing science and proven fact that it is helping. Yeah. Not curing, but helping. But yet the government still sits on this and doesn't do any further research, nor, it's on state legalization, but not on the federal level.
Correct.
So it's interesting that all this good stuff is going on, but yet no look. I personally love Vice, and they did a great series that they have going on called Weedakit. Go watch it.
We'll put it on the social medias.
Very interesting. But I'm going to break down 3 quick cases on what they did, and then I want you to kind of, in your mind and opinion, what takes priority. Right. So the first case, he was looking at how the laws are set in place with marijuana and cannabis right now, and the people affected by it. And also, just throwing stats out like that, there's 1.5 million nonviolent arrests in drug crimes each year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty outstanding number.
That's a big number.
And it's from that ongoing, act of the War on Drugs Act. Also within that, they looked at cases of where these nonviolent marijuana cases are being thrown out there with a 13 and a third years sentence on 2 joints. And this one,
Bernard Noble. I read a little bit more on that case when I saw this because I was like, "Who's this guy? And do we have our stuff right?" And I totally did. And I don't. It's a Louisiana guy, just African American, who had a couple joints that ended up to like 2.6 grams of pot. And because of the justice system down there, and so this article I was reading called it out on race. I don't know if that's the case. Could definitely be, but more of the fact of just why for a plant are we getting 13 and a half years, and you see certain people who, when you pump money into that justice system, you get out with 2 years and parole for murdering somebody or something to that effect.
Right. So the next one that he highlighted in the series was the medical use. The reporter followed around different people that have either cancer or leukemia of some sort, just any type of disease where they're taking chemotherapy and using it, and they're kind of helping this with the side effects that chemotherapy uses. And in one case, they studied and followed this girl that pretty much stopped her chemotherapy treatments and now is fully on 100% cannabis
100%.
Medical schedule, if you will.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, and so they kind of followed the cases around that and how there is still a stigma of where, again, it is legal in your state, but federally, the feds can come in there, child services can come in there and take this child, even though it is helping.
Yeah, 100% helping. That was the biggest thing is they suggested, like, after chemotherapy, this is what it came down to. It's a final straw for these people, right? It was, we've tried chemotherapy. They said this might not even completely work. They didn't like the idea of pumping radiation into their child as well.
Right.
So they thought to themselves, well, we've heard of they thought of it, they've heard of it, they've researched up on it, and they decided we're going to try cannabis oil.
Right.
And on the first night, they suggested some hunger came back, and she had some energy back from being all chemotherapied out, and in that sense, to me, that's huge. I don't care if it's, I don't know. It comes from the ground to me. It's earthly. It's something that if you're ingesting, it's not hurting you in lungs or anything to that effect. It's sort of psychoactive effects, which they're not talking about, which I understand that. You're talking about a child. But radiation doesn't have any of those effects either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then the third case is that there was a sting operation that happened in Temecula, California, out here, of where these 22 students and between 2 schools were in this what they called a drug ring. But what it was is that this officer did the whole 21st Jump Street pose as a high school student, went to classes, did homework, and tried to get these kids to sell drugs to them.
Right.
Now, the reason why it's making headline news is, and in this series in particular, is because one of the students actually had autism. And followed that not only did they have 6 people within that 22 group that had a learning disability or had autism of some sort, they also picked on these shy minority kids that were very not the emo kids, the sense of where they are distant from their other classmates and they're just looking for another friend.
Who doesn't want to be loved?
Right, exactly. And so and what happens now is all these kids are considered as felons in the eyes of the government, which they are out of school right now. Even if they do finish high school or get their GED, they have no option for financial aid because they're felons. And their families can't live in public housing. And so, there's different things that go on with these kids now that they will never be able to do because of this almost, what I look at as almost illegal way to get people to, into the system. Mm-hmm. And so out of those 3, which one would you rather see changed first in the eyes of the government? Would it be that either the high arrest volume of these non-violent marijuana, crimes, doing more research of the medical use, or kind of the laws regarding it?
Well, a lot of these affects people's lives, man. Of course, the non-violent is huge. Are you kidding me? Being in prison for 13 some years for having possession of a plant seems pretty ridiculous.
And some with a life sentence with no parole.
No, yeah, and then you talk about sting operations to make kids look like they're in
drug
the wrong,
lords?
like drug lords and felons because they just wanted to help their friend out who asked them for pot. I don't know if that's how it worked out, but
in short, that's how.
There's probably dancing ways around it for legality reasons, but yes. Of course, I guess I guess it hits home a little bit. I had a cousin who had to go through a ton of chemotherapy, and the medical use is my choice on this, but all of them are pathetic. Like, all of them should be changed. It's nothing that we all can't, again, 14 years or something like that when people are walking around after either bodily harming people, raping people, or murdering people. If you walk in less time than that, and I've seen cases where they say they do, I can prove it. I don't know any right now, but we can make it happen. That's
yeah, and mine would be just the laws regarding it. The only reason why I say laws, it takes a priority and should be first looked at, is because I feel it's a trickle system from that. If the government change the laws on it, on the federal level, rescheduled it as obviously not as harmful as heroin and more harmful than cocaine, which right now it is, as the way it's scheduled.
Number 2 narcotic.
Yeah, if you change all that, then you'll see the federal government and just different, private companies wanting to now do more research on it. I feel that will change, the medical game. Which then also, if it is changed in the law differently, you can't obviously arrest me then.
Right.
And so that takes away that situation almost in a whole. And so that's the only reason why I would say, in my opinion, to take priority would be the law. Is only for that reason, because then
it should trickle down.
Yeah, it should in that right trickle down. As you can see already, almost half the states have it legalized, medically or recreationally. So I think it's only a matter of time. But go follow that series. It's a very interesting series on this topic, for good or worse. And they actually take a look into a different case of where it's just a mom and her thought of it.
Right.
She has no kids that need it. She sometimes just smokes just to smoke, and her opinion on it. So, so it's interesting. So go follow the series.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, so moving on to the home sweet home.
Take us home.
NBA. We're going to the NBA because we saw this on our social media bunch and we want to weigh in on this. The NBA is now going to allow advertisers to be on their jerseys, straight up NASCAR style.
Yep.
And what we want to know from all of you and what we're going to weigh in on today is, how do you feel about that, John? How do you feel about that?
I feel it's okay. I don't feel it, because right now, let's look at it as a whole. Soccer already does it. Mm-hmm. The European Basketball League and Chinese League already do it.
Yep.
NASCAR, like you mentioned, does
it.
And I think, if it's something small, like the way that they're suggesting, it's just going to be a patch of just the logo, I am cool with that. The minute you start taking over the jersey is where I feel uncomfortable about it, because I think we're already obviously advertised enough. But I don't mind it. I think it's a good way for that team as well to show off local sponsors, because if you look at the Bucks, and it's an Associated Bank, which is mostly just a Wisconsin branch bank, that would be awesome for that. That'd be pretty cool for them.
Yeah.
And so I think if you do it in the small, subtle way, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
No,
I guess it makes sense to me, but everybody's got to get their money from somewhere, and a lot of this business nowadays is from your advertisers, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. I said it earlier in jest, NASCAR ruined it for us.
And they did in a way, because you have the entire car and jumpsuit as a billboard.
But I mean, in the same sense, again, you talk about this is a big revenue stream. People do like it. They know it's a business. You're going to have to get the money from somewhere, and why not, versus having to plaster it all over the place. The number one thing that people are watching are the players. So if you can have your name on there, like you said, an Associated Bank or something like that on the Bucks, it's gonna help drive revenue for the business. And as a business person, I guess I can get behind that.
Well, and my whole thing too is that they've already been branded, because there already is the Nike logo and the Adidas logo on certain jerseys.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's to the people that are because there's a lot of people oh, what the fuck, man, is going on? I was well, they've already been doing that. When they wear their shoe, why do you think so many people love the Jordan brand?
Right.
Because there's the stars that wear them, and then there's Michael Jordan. Why does everyone love Nike? Because Kobe and LeBron. That already is working. If it's just going to be another little patch, and whatever, I still get to watch amazing sports.
Yeah, we'll have to look up the restrictions and throw them on the social media, because I'm sure there are certain, hey, you can't be 3x3 or whatever it is. So we'll find that out and keep you informed. Unfortunately, we didn't have it today. My apologies. But please, keep listening. We do appreciate you stopping by today. We'll be next week with episode 17.
7.
Be sure you come check us out on the social medias. Again, you can search us on Facebook at Juggernaut Productions, LLC, and also Instagram, Juggernaut Productions, LLC. And then you can find us... Are you going to do this one
can't
too?
do no.
On Twitter at Juggernaut_prod, PROD. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great rest of the week.
Have a great week.